I feel like extra special now. I know that my earrings are noticed. Design Development AI earrings. It's my new Twitter profile right there. Yeah, so as Rick said, I want to talk about design. As I was watching Adam's talk, I thought, shit, so I wrote my entire thing in handwriting, and my handwriting is shitty AF, like it's terrible. So I really apologize for how unreadable it is, but I will read the words out as well, especially if they're important. I don't know, maybe I should have done like some closed captioning, but I didn't have time because I was writing these slides until 3 o'clock last night because I suck at time management. But it's okay because we're here and it's going to be fun. And also this whole thing is a little bit of an experiment. So I was kind of like freaking out a little bit. So I'm a bit nervous, just like so you know I talk a lot, but I still get really nervous every time. And like this is a little bit new for me as well. So just be kind and try and go with the flow a little bit. We'll just have a bit of fun. We love you. Thanks, Millie. Oh, Millie is going to be my awesome helper. She's also speaking next week, next meetup, and she's going to be amazing. So yeah, I'm Laura, as Rick said. I'm SummerScope on Twitter. You don't need to know that much more about me. Just a quick vocab check. I'm talking about mock-ups and concept design a lot in this talk. And when I say that, what I mean is the Photoshop or Sketch artifact after a design round. So like I'm talking about JPEGs or any kind of output that we put up on a screen and be like, this is what our product or website or mobile app or whatever the thing is on the screen is going to look like. So just so you know, that's what I'm talking about. Hopefully that's pretty clear. But also there's like very little beautiful design in these slides and mostly ugliness. But I thought I better put in a couple of beautiful things. So just to refresh your eyeballs a little bit. So let me tell you a story. I just started at a startup a few weeks ago called CoinJar, and they do cryptocurrency. They're super cool. And when I joined, I was booting up all the design tooling, and I was just like, oh, I hate my life right now. And like, I say this like facetiously, but also I'm good friends with the lead designer and all the design team, and like they hate it too, but it's still where we're at right now. So this is not an indictment on those designers, but just on the state of tooling right now in 2018. So we're using Sketch to do high fidelity design mockups. And because it's a remote team, they were like, hey, so how do we deal with remote file management? What does that look like? What do we know the source of truth is? How do we avoid getting into that horrible like flow of final dash, really, this is the final one. No, seriously, I mean it. This is the app. Don't touch, yeah, right? Everyone knows that pain. So we were trying this tool called Abstract, which is using Git to diff and version manage Sketch, which would be awesome, except it's janky. So I was working on some icons the other day, and every time I committed a new icon into the icon set, the previous icon mysteriously disappeared. I was like, oh, this is just so fucking frustrating. Excuse me, I'll try not to swear too much. I make no promises, I do swear a lot. And then they're using Zeppelin, and Zeppelin is a tool that they're using to, again, because it's a remote team, they have, one of the founders is in London, one of the founders is here, the design, other designers over in Berlin. So everyone's trying to have discussions about design remotely. So using Zeppelin where you can annotate and have conversations about design, which is pretty cool, but Zeppelin is very static. So none of the smart version management stuff from this is going into this. So you're still stuck with this like manual flow, right? So like this is just one team, and I've been there for like 3 weeks, and I'm already like, can we just throw them all out and just only write code, please? Like seriously. And then everybody else has their own little special, tooling set. So Balsamic for writing wireframes, Abstract I mentioned. This is a new tool called Affinity Designer, which looks really beautiful. I like the logo. This is a prototyping tool called Framer. I put Macaw in there because look at how beautiful their GIF is. I mean, come on, look at that. I could seriously just watch that all day. It's so pretty. And then there's Marvel, another prototyping tool, Illustrator, Photoshop, InDesign, Rocket. Like there's so many. I mean, like I was gonna do like a pile, and then this was at like 2 in the morning, so whatever. You get the idea, right? There's a lot. So I just wanted to do a quick temperature test. Like, is everyone in the room working on some kind of digital tool or product? Like, yes, mostly, yeah, that looks like mostly yes. Okay, so that being the case, raise your hands, everybody. For me, just do it. I promise it's not gonna hurt. All right. Keep your hand up if you're really happy with the state of design tooling in your team right now. Okay. Oh, Robin's there. The only out here.
I've been given my own project to rewrite it so that it all designer all the way through. So it's mine. So I have to be like, it's okay.
Okay, yeah, fair enough.
Because I'm responsible.
Give it 6 months. Okay, so I decided we were going to do this activity because I wrote this blog post called Burn the Concept Mocks, and I was thinking about writing this talk. I thought, how do I write this talk in a way that is better and more valuable to you than just like reading the blog I already wrote, like ranting about this shit, right? So we're going to do a little activity. Millie is going to be an amazing helper. I have some pens, but if you have your own pen, please like use them because I think I only brought like 24. So we only need one. Sorry, one quick notice that we're going to pair up. So we need like a little like 5 or 6 pieces of paper and a pen for every 2 people. So if you want to start getting that, we're going to partner up, and I'd like you to try and pick someone you don't know well. So you two, not each other. I can know each other. So pick a partner. Hey, so sorry to be loud. I'm just going to try and keep us moving into the activity. Does everyone have a partner now? Has everyone partnered up? Someone you don't know? Don't know too much? Yeah? Okay. So everyone's going to pick a role. It doesn't really matter which one you are. You just need to decide if you want to be the designer or the recorder. It really doesn't matter either way. Don't stress if you don't think of yourself as a designer. It's going to take 5 minutes to do this activity. So just pick a role. Does anyone want to help Millie with handing out paper as well? I feel like we need some... No, I mean like just break it up and then it'll go faster. So take like 30 seconds to talk to your partner and decide who's going to do which role. So I'm going to give you a quick brief, and then I'm going to give you 5 minutes to run the activity, and then we'll chat about it a little bit more, and then we'll do a little bit more, and then we'll be done. So it's not too hard, I promise. So there's a new platform. They're called Nuzzle. They are Nest for pets. Nest is a home automation service, if you're not familiar with them. And what I'm envisaging is something that is basically like a smart app that coordinates all of your smart devices for your pets. So maybe you turn your cat door on at some time of the day, and maybe you feed them at the right times of the day if you're not at home, and maybe you have a cute little cat toy that activates to keep them... Yes, I am a cat person, I'm sorry. What do dogs need? They need your face. So dogs would have like a little video screen, and they could see you, and you can have a chat to them and be like, "You're a good boy. You're stupid, but you're cute." I'm glad you guys like that. So your task here is you're about to launch this platform, and there's an app for the platform where you can set up all of your automation and see what's happening and turn things off and on and maybe like talk to your pets remotely. And you want to be able to capture feedback from your early users in a way that's intuitive but not like intrusive or annoying. So that's the brief. Does that kind of make sense? Does anyone have any questions before we move on? The person. Yeah, we're capturing feedback from the people, not the pets, because we haven't done AI translation for meows yet. But when we have that, I'm so on it. So designers, your role is to explore a feature idea to capture that feedback. And note taker, your role is to try and capture that idea in sketches. Oh yeah, I switched the roles. Designer, your job is to talk, not to draw, and not to try and draw with your hands, just to talk. And note taker, your job is to draw, but not to show what you're drawing to the designer and be like, is this right? Sorry. Not to show. So we will do a big reveal at the end. So in the meantime, please do not share your design ideas. I will give you 5 minutes. Oh, yes, please. You can choose if it's a native or a web, anything you want. Sure. Oh. I was excited about it making a loud ding, and it didn't happen.
Did it just call?
Yeah, it literally went ding. It's okay. Does everyone have at least like some design sketch to talk about? And we haven't shown our designers yet? Cool, okay. Okay, so this is a little temperature test just for the designers. Designers, do you feel confident that the note takers succeeded in capturing your brilliant, amazing idea? Like, yeah, thumbs up in the back. Give me like a hands up if you feel good about it. Yeah, everyone's feeling great. I love the confidence. Does anyone feel like it's just totally gone wrong and gone off the rails and like they didn't have any idea what you're talking about? Just out of curiosity? Maybe, yes, possibly. That's okay. Totally valid. All results are good data. Okay, so now we're going to reveal these sketches and just so have a quick look at them for a minute. Show each other. Oh, and I get to show, Millie did an amazing one. I gave her literally like a 3-word brief. She gave me this. Okay, so just a little, sorry. Shh. Yeah, woosah. Woosah. I'm going to give you another couple minutes to talk, so don't worry. I just wanted to, like, just before we go into the last bit of the activity, so after we've had a look at them, designers, how many note takers totally nailed that? Hey! Also, Millie like drew my cat. Like, it was amazing. She like totally nailed it. It was amazing. Cool. And did anyone, oh, sorry, I won't like offer the negative cases, but we had a lot of positive cases. It's amazing. And was it like exactly what you had in your minds or like close to, or anyone gonna give feedback? 90%? That's pretty impressive. Okay, so I just wanted to see like what the vibe was like. So now this slide actually seems pretty mean. But I want to talk about it anyway because this often happens. We think words are really good abstractions for interfaces. But then we can say one thing and think totally different things, right? So if I said pop-up, one person could think of this like funny little text popover behavior, and one person would be thinking of a modal, and they could be totally different. And I think the dangerous thing about this muddiness of language is sometimes we are on the same page. Sometimes it's totally fine, but then sometimes it's not, and we don't know what's happening. So that's the difficult thing about language when we're talking about technology, right? So now I'm just going to give you a few more minutes, and I just wanted to, just to tie off this exercise, give you the chance to collaboratively work on this sketch to see if it needs any more improvements, or if you, like, together can refine it or decide, like, how to make it the best notification feedback loop mechanism it possibly can be. The incredibly soft ding has gone. Ding, 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 ding. Ding, 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 ding. Cool. Rick just told me that I have like 10 minutes. And, he's such a like leader honorer. Like earlier today, he calls me up and he's like, so we've lost one of our speakers. You want to take a bit more time? And now he's all, hurry your butt up. Kick him. And then like Rick knows I always go over my talk time. So telling me I have more time is a terrible idea. Okay. All right. So I want you to hold your beautiful finished artwork up for sharing. Well, no, this is the end of the activity, but like, this is just helps us visualize what's going on. So like, we're just holding it up so that I'm going to ask you a question now, because thinking about this sketch and this conversation you just had and like the sort of communication that went on between the designer and the note taker and thinking about how this might actually turn into a real app, I want you to like really, you can look at it for yourself if you want. Like, think about how long this artifact lasts. Like, what is the lifetime of this design? So if we all hold it up, we'll like take them down for me so I can see them disappearing. Sorry, I know this is annoying. I promise this is the last time I ask you to hold shit up. Even your hands, I promise. Cool. So, do you still think this will be meaningful in 5 minutes? Damn. How about in 5 hours? How about in 5 days? How about in 5 weeks? Okay, that feels like it's it. So it's a pretty short lifetime, right? That's five-ish weeks, and that's probably being generous. I'm probably going to look at this in 2 minutes and be like, what was that again? Okay. All right. I'm ready to like drop some bombs, and I had to like remember that I wasn't going to forget this stuff. So what if I suggested to you that there is literally no difference between this sketch we just produced and the most beautiful high fidelity mock-up we could possibly produce in Photoshop? Oh no! What if I suggested to you that this in fact is a proxy for all design before we actually hit our code? Yeah. Feel free to like do some snaps like a poetry jam, like snap it out. What if I told you that all design mock-ups are simply a record or an artifact which record the idea or the conversation we had? Yes. So I would argue in some ways the design on our left is even more valuable than the design on our right, aside from the fact that it's like bubbly AF and like totally old school. But putting that to the side, the design on the right shuts down conversations. The design on the left opens them up. The design on the right has had a lot of work going into it, and you feel bad asking that person to change their mind. The design on the left obviously took them less than 3 seconds. Maybe I literally did that last night. Like I would have been like 10 seconds or less. So in some ways, the lower fidelity, the more open the conversation, and the easier it is to have that conversation without making that designer feel bad. So I told someone over there this quote last night. I was searching at 3 a.m. for this quote, and I'm like, I know I heard this recently. And then I woke up this morning and I asked my partner, where were we talking about this quote? Who did it come from? And he's like, Laura, I just said that to you in conversation. And I like it so much. He said, a code base exists as much in the mind of the development team as it does in the GitHub or in the repo. And I think that's really true. And I would argue that you could, I know, I'm quoting myself. I'd argue that you could take this out to design as well, right? That a design exists as much in the mind of our collective design team as it does in a design artifact or in the design tooling like Sketch. So here we get to the meat of the talk. This is how I see design is going right now in most, whether you're an agency or product or, in-house or anything in the middle. We're wasting all our time over here, right? Sucks. And we're spending time in tools that aren't the final product, that aren't the final medium of our, output. In fact, all that shit gets thrown away. Literally, we're optimizing to right here, and all of this is pinnable, and this is the actual thing we're building, and our, end fidelity isn't actually that good. It makes me really sad. So this is my positive vision of the future. I want to see us doing much less high-resolution design and doing more of it in the code iteratively as we build it out. Oh, sorry. Fed is front-end development. Bed is back-end development. They're probably poor metaphors anyway because it's just coding, right? It's like getting into the programming. But the thing that's important here is that I see UI design skill sets and front-end skill sets as being very much a spectrum, not Boolean, not one or the other. And I think that they should be working together way more. I know you hear this all the time, but designers, developers, we're actually the same people. Just get rid of the label and start working together. So I was asking myself when I wrote this, like, why is this so hard? And it's because we don't give ourselves permission to redesign the process. We're like, we saw someone before us, like, produced 50 beautiful mock-ups in Sketch to describe a flow, and they're like, oh, shit, they're doing everything really beautifully. I'm going to have to do that again. And then you do it, and you're like, God, I just spent, like, 20 hours on doing just, like, basically high-fidelity wireframing. Why did I do that? And also, like, if you need to put this in monetary terms, this is also really wasteful for our businesses. So the more high fidelity you go with your design, the more time it costs you. The more time it costs you, and the more money it costs you. Like, it is much more expensive being up the far end of that. So, like, I'm seeing stealing as existing art, right? Like, mood boards or, like, looking at competitors, all the way up to doing your own thing pixel by pixel beautifully. So basically, the thing I'm here to ask you to do is think at every stage of your design process and then open up these conversations for how do we roll back our design fidelity? What does that look like? How can we get cheaper and leaner and lighter? So I have a few ideas, of course. One is, thanks, Rick. He made a little snort. Always be sketching. I just want to share a little. Yeah, Millie and I emceed at CSS Conf, JS Conf earlier in the year, and I had just gotten this iPad Pro and I was drawing on it, and like I haven't drawn for years, and my drawings, as you can see, are terrible. Like, they're awful. It doesn't matter. Like, I'm not precious about it, but like they're really not that good. But the point of sketchnoting and drawing and sharing ideas isn't that you're Picasso. The point is to actually communicate that design idea, that design conversation. So we started like tweeting under shitty sketch notes because we thought it was really funny. And then people started telling us, oh, no, it's okay. Like, your designs are beautiful. And I'm like, no, can we please just call a spade a spade? Like, it's okay that they're ugly. The point is that it gives you an idea of what it was like to be at that talk. And it gives you a little bit of a artifact to look at. And I don't care that they weren't that beautiful. Like, that's not actually the point. So yeah, shitty discussions is a thing. Please do it. So yeah, like to sum that up, drawings don't need to be pretty or perfect. You don't need to be a good drawer to be an effective communicator. And effective communication is what we are trying to do here. High fidelity design is only good at communicating like certain kinds of things. Like, we're talking about emotion and tone and color and like iconography choices and typography choices. God, this is an old email from so many years ago. It's so embarrassing. Look at how ugly, and like it's like, oh, I'm so shiny, and look at my big like Web 2.0 like button in the middle. I was so proud of it at the time. I was even really like happy with these little banner things. It's like, that's beautiful symmetry. And a little bit of skeuomorphism. Yeah, anyway, whatever. But the point is, like, that's only good at communicating certain aspects of my final product. The other things are things like interactions with that design, application states that change, errors that might occur, anything basically that could change over time. And the other thing that really sucks about doing tons of high fidelity design is that it's really easy to introduce unintended complexity, right? Like, make some padding or some margin like bigger or smaller than a different view that's supposed to be the same template. And that happens all the time. I see it happening over and over again, and I see front-enders implementing it over and over again. And I'm like, why didn't you just use the component that was there and available to you? And it's because they're like, well, this had like 24 pixels of margin, and you know, over there it was 22, and I thought it was an intentional. And it's like, no, that's just a fuck up. Like, designers really suck at that. We never get that right. So yeah, please ask yourself, what is the design style? What is the design artifact that helps suit the challenge I'm currently facing? What is the tool from my toolkit of design like possibilities that helps me have this conversation better? So mood boards, for instance, are really, really good at communicating things rapidly, and they take, half an hour to whack together. So like, basically, this is the steel end of the spectrum, right? It's like, I wanted to show you the mood, the like look and feel that I was going for. You can see it was really cute, the little doggy with it. This is like, I'm communicating my brand persona. You can see lots of cute little icons. The colors are pretty similar. You can feel like it's airy, it's clean, it's light, it's welcoming. Like, I can imagine what that UI is going to look like pretty rapidly just from looking at that. And I've spent half an hour throwing that together rather than like 6 hours or 12 or 20. Hand-drawn sketches, my favorite, as you know. I don't think we need to talk about that too much. Draw what you think. Storyboards are another really helpful thing, especially if you're communicating things around service design or thinking beyond just how someone interacts with your product. So this is my really terrible example of this, but we have like a person who's in bed, they're waking up, they go to their cupboard and they're like, oh, there's no coffee, sharpfish. This happens to me all the time. And they get out their app called Caffeine Please and order their latte, and some cyclist, I'm sorry, dude, comes and brings it to my door. And then I'm happy and caffeinated and ready to, and like that communicates like an experience for a user really rapidly. And again, like I didn't have to get into high fidelity design to do it. Can you guys hear me okay without me yelling into the mic? Cool. So another thing I really want you to like give yourself permission to do is combine fidelities. So you might need to describe a whole big flow, but if you design one of those pieces, one of those views really nicely, you can then communicate further pieces with much less effort, and you don't need to stay in Photoshop, right? Like there's no need. We just do this because, you know, it's habit, it's route. So I put together a little decision flow, and then after I did this, I was like, shit, I've got like 10 more points. This is a perfect example of why you shouldn't go to Photoshop first, right? Launch this up with a sketch. I was thinking I'd put this up online somewhere, and I want to develop it a bit more. But the idea is ask yourself questions about what tools might help you have the conversation you need to have right now. So if you're thinking like a new design concept, could that go out to a mood board? Or is it like a new set of iconography? Am I thinking about totally whacking the symbols and starting again? Am I thinking about sharing user journeys? Or am I thinking about talking about pain points, empathy mapping? Like all of that stuff could be nice in storyboards. Am I doing a new user flow from existing UI or existing components? Because like that could be a wireframe of any fidelity, but it could just be a sketch usually if you already have your UI. If I'm doing something that's very movie, like animations or loaders or reveals or, you know, modals, like I could go straight to CodePen. I could literally make a mood board out of CodePen pens. And that would be a really cheap and easy way to describe what it is I think I want to do. Or am I doing things like text or color changes to a live page or adding a node like to a list item or something? Because if I'm doing that, I can just edit in browser, take a screen cap, and talk about it. And again, that's much faster. And if none of those are true, and probably many other things as well, then maybe it's time to fire up your design tool. So to just conclude, I know I drew a match, I'm sorry. Like, you probably got the vibe by now. I'm not here to say let's burn everything down. I obviously really like design. I think design is really powerful. I'm just asking that we do a lot less of it. And I think we should be much more deliberate, much more thoughtful about when and how we use it.